I helped a lonely girl at 15. She tried to steal my baby years later. She followed me for years, obsessed over my pregnancy, then vanished, until the day she called and said, "She's ours now." Before we continue, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. This will greatly help me with promotion. Thank you. Hi, I'm Rachel Harper, and I never imagined that one act of kindness at 15 would nearly cost me everything I love. But it did. This is the story of how my daughter was almost stolen before she was even born, and how I learned the terrifying difference between kindness and connection, and obsession and possession. It begins with a coworker. A woman who smiled too much, asked too many questions, and said something to me in a bathroom that still echoes in my nightmares. Jennifer Cole started as nothing more than a quiet coworker in our marketing department, sweet, soft-spoken, always offering to grab you a tea during break. The kind of person you'd forget in a meeting but feel guilty about it later. I never once suspected she had memorized the rhythm of my life. After the bathroom incident, when she pressed her hands to my pregnant stomach and whispered that she'd been praying for my baby before I even knew I was pregnant, I did what any sane person would do. I shoved her away, reported her, and filed a restraining order. She was fired. HR apologized profusely. Everyone told me I did the right thing. That she was unstable. That it was over. It wasn't over. A week ago, I was called into the police precinct and shown the inside of her apartment. The baby crib was a match to ours, same shade of gray, same brand. She had hospital scrubs in her closet, medical documents with her name listed as the mother, and a binder with a full-blown birth plan written in her handwriting, as if she were me. Or as if I were her. But it got worse. Detective Martinez, who has been both my anchor and my nightmare navigator, slid a folder across the table and said gently, "We need you to look through these." Inside were photos. Not of Jennifer. Of me. Hundreds of them. Me laughing outside a cafe. Me waddling down the street with my swollen ankles. Me kissing David in our driveway. Some were taken from distances I didn't notice. Others were up close, like she'd been just a few feet away. One was from inside the doctor's office. She had followed me to prenatal checkups. She'd been documenting my entire pregnancy like it was hers. And then, the real horror, Jennifer wasn't just some random woman who'd latched onto me at work. She'd known me for years. Since I was 15. Since the summer I volunteered at a Portland community center, and apparently, said something nice to a lonely little girl named Jennifer. "You told her she was talented," Detective Martinez said. "She never forgot. She never forgot." And now I was carrying the child she believed, deeply, delusionally, was meant to be hers. My baby. Our baby. Mine. And somewhere out there, Jennifer was still watching. Still planning. And getting closer. The police called it maternal delusional fixation. I called it hell. After seeing those photos, I barely slept. Every creak of the house became a footstep. Every shadow outside the window, a figure. David tried to calm me, but he was terrified too. He double-checked the locks every night. Installed cameras. Kept a baseball bat by the bed. Still, I'd wake up gasping from nightmares, Jennifer's voice whispering, "We're connected now. I'll see you soon." Weeks passed. No trace of her. Then, out of nowhere, she called me. It was an ordinary morning. I was folding tiny baby clothes in the nursery, due in less than a week. My phone buzzed, unknown number. I answered before thinking. "Rachel," she said softly, like we were old friends. "You sound tired." My blood froze. "Jennifer? How did you get this number?" "I've always had your number," she murmured. "I've always known where you are." I tried to keep my voice steady. "You need to stop this. The police are. They can't find me." She interrupted, almost laughing. "I'm very good at hiding. You taught me that." "I never taught you anything," I snapped, though part of me wondered if I had. "Why are you doing this?" Silence. Then softly. "You don't remember that summer, do you? I was 7. You helped me paint a butterfly. You said I was special? That I could become something beautiful. No one ever told me that before." "I was 15, I said quietly. "I was just a kid. Not to me. You were everything. You were my mother before you ever had one of your own." I wanted to hang up, to scream, to call the police, but my hand wouldn't move. She sighed, almost tenderly. "You gave me hope, Rachel. And now you're giving me what I've always prayed for, a daughter. Our daughter." She's not yours. I shouted. She is. Spiritually, she is. You're just carrying her for me. You're my surrogate. And then, the line went dead. I stood there, shaking so violently I thought I'd go into labor. When Detective Martinez arrived, I could barely form words. They traced the call, of course. Nothing. A burner phone. Disposable. Gone. But I couldn't unhear her voice. Or the promise in it. One way or another, I will have her. After the call, everything changed. Detective Martinez assigned 2 officers to us full-time, one parked outside our house, one shadowing me to every appointment. David took a leave from work. Our home turned into a bunker. We installed motion sensors, panic buttons, reinforced locks, and enough cameras to make it feel like a movie set. I should have felt safe, but instead I felt watched. Like every security measure was just another reminder that the threat wasn't gone, only waiting. And Jennifer was smart. The kind of smart that scares you more than a weapon. She had slipped through police surveillance once. She could do it again. I spent most days in the nursery, trying to distract myself with folding onesies or reorganizing diapers, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Nights were worse. I'd wake to check that Lily, still unborn, was still mine. Still safe. Then came the night my water broke. It was 2 a.m., the same hour Jennifer used to text me about, maternal instincts, before she was fired. I remember because I saw the clock flash as I gasped and woke David. "It's time," I said. He was up instantly, grabbing the hospital bag, fumbling with the keys. On the way, he called Detective Martinez. She said officers were already stationed at the hospital, that everything was under control. I tried to believe her. The hospital was chaos, beeping machines, bright lights, nurses moving fast. I saw uniforms in the hallway, Martinez's people, but it still felt like Jennifer could be anywhere, hidden behind a mask or a pair of scrubs. The labor was long, brutal, but the moment I heard my baby's cry, the fear cracked open into something pure and bright. "She's here," David whispered, tears streaking his cheeks. "She's here, Rachel." We named her Lillian Harper. 7 pounds 3 ounces. My heart outside my body. But peace didn't last. That second night in the hospital, while David went home to shower, a nurse came in. Blonde. Smiling. Clipboard in hand. "I'm taking Lily to the nursery for a few hours so you can rest," she said. Every nerve in my body screamed. "No," I said instantly. "Mrs. Harper, you need." "I said no!" My voice cracked into a shout. The nurse blinked, startled, and left quickly. The moment the door closed, I clutched Lily to my chest and cried silently for an hour. When David came back, I told him everything. He didn't even question me, just slept sitting up in the chair beside me, one hand on the bassinet. We left the hospital 3 days later. Back home, it was like living under glass. Cameras blinked red in every corner. I jumped at every delivery truck and shadow. But Lily's tiny heartbeat against my chest anchored me. Reminded me why I had to keep it together. Then Martinez came by. "We still haven't found Jennifer," she admitted, rubbing her temples. "It's like she vanished." "She called me," I reminded her. "She's still out there." "I know. But we'll find her." I wanted to believe that so badly. Weeks passed. Lily turned 3 weeks old, then 4. My mother flew in from Seattle to help, and for a little while, the house smelled like soup and safety again. But the fear was still there, buried under every quiet moment. Then one afternoon at the park, it came roaring back. I took Lily out in her stroller, my mom's idea. "You can't live in fear forever," she'd said. The sun was warm. The air smelled like leaves and wet earth. For a second, it felt normal. Until an elderly woman approached me. "What a beautiful baby," she said. "May I?" I tensed instantly. "I'd rather you didn't." She smiled politely, but as she turned to leave, something in her eyes shifted, concern, maybe pity. "Be careful, dear," she said softly. "There's been a strange woman around lately. Dark hair, in her 30s. She sits on that bench over there for hours, just watching." My blood went cold. Did she ever talk to anyone? No. Just stared down that path. The one I'd just walked. I thanked her, rushed home, and called Martinez. She arrived an hour later, studying a map on our kitchen table. "She's escalating," she said grimly. "Getting closer." That night I barely slept. Something inside me snapped around midnight. Fear turned into a kind of reckless clarity. If Jennifer was watching me, then maybe I could watch her back. So I made a fake social media account. New name, fake photo. I searched everything, old coworkers, mutual followers, deleted profiles, and I found her. An account called Blessed Mother 2024. Private, but her tone was unmistakable. I sent a request. 20 minutes later, she accepted. The feed was a nightmare. Pictures of babies she didn't have. Cribs. Ultrasounds from Google. And then my house. A photo of our porch taken from the park, captioned, "Home is where the heart is." And my heart is right here. I screenshotted everything and sent it to Martinez. But I kept scrolling. And that's when I found it. A hospital badge. A different hospital, 30 miles north. Captioned, "New beginnings require new approaches. Tomorrow is the day." Tomorrow. Friday. The same day as Lily's 6-week checkup. She knew. She always knew. I called Detective Martinez at 2:14 a.m., shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. "She knows about the appointment," I whispered. "She's going to be there." The detective didn't even pause. "Don't go," she said. "We'll send a decoy, officers posing as you and your husband." "No," I said, surprising both of us. "If Jennifer sees it's not me, she'll vanish again." "You said she's smart. She knows my face, my walk, my voice. She'll know." There was a long silence. I could hear her thinking through the risk, the logistics. Finally, she sighed. "Let me make some calls." By morning, there was a plan. A sting. I would go to Lily's checkup as scheduled. David would come too. The third floor of the pediatric clinic would be filled with undercover officers. They'd have eyes on every hallway, every exit. Jennifer wouldn't get within 10 feet of us. That was the plan. I barely slept. I held Lily all night, whispering promises to her in the dark. By dawn I was numb. David didn't want to go through with it. He kept saying, "We can reschedule, Rachel. Let the police handle it." But I was done being hunted. I needed this to end. The hospital looked normal when we arrived, families in the lobby, kids in pajamas, parents holding coffee cups. But I knew better. The calm before the storm. We checked in. The receptionist gave a subtle nod, the signal that everything was in place. David's hand gripped mine so tightly it hurt. Minutes crawled by. Then our name was called. "Lily Harper," a nurse said from the doorway. We followed her down the hall into an exam room. Bright walls painted with cartoon animals. Lily cooed in my arms, blissfully unaware of the tension filling the air. The doctor, an actual pediatrician, came in and started the routine check. Weight, reflexes, heartbeat, all perfect. "She's thriving," she said, smiling. "You're doing a wonderful job, Mom." For a moment, I let myself believe it was over. Then the fire alarm went off. The sound was shrill and instant. Lily screamed. The doctor frowned. "That's strange. We didn't schedule a drill." And I knew. I knew. Jennifer had pulled the alarm. The hallway erupted into chaos, nurses shouting, patients filing toward the stairwell. The officer assigned to our room appeared instantly. "We need to evacuate. Now!" David scooped up Lily's carrier. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might faint. We moved with the crowd into the stairwell, families, doctors, staff, everyone pressing shoulder to shoulder. We reached the second-floor landing when I saw her. Jennifer. She was on the first floor below us, head tilted up, her eyes scanning until they locked on mine. The scrubs, the visitor badge, the calm smile, she'd disguised herself again. And then she smiled that same haunting smile from the bathroom months ago. "David!" I hissed, grabbing his arm. "She's here!" He turned, but by the time he looked, Jennifer was already moving, slipping into the flow of people, vanishing into the noise and confusion. Officers shouted into radios. The crowd surged faster. Sirens wailed outside. Fire trucks pulled up, lights flashing. Parents clutched crying children. We spilled out into the daylight, and for a moment, I thought maybe she was gone. That she'd run. But then I saw her again, across the parking lot, near the garage entrance. Watching me. She saw me see her. And she ran. I didn't think. I didn't hesitate. I just ran after her. "Rachel, stop!" David yelled, but the sound of Lily crying in the distance only pushed me faster. Jennifer darted into the parking garage, her shoes echoing on the concrete. I followed, my breath sharp, my chest tight, adrenaline making my hands shake. The air smelled of oil and cold metal. Shadows flickered between parked cars. I could hear her footsteps above me, then silence. Rachel! Her voice echoed down from the upper level. I just want to talk. No, you don't! I shouted back. It's over, Jennifer! I don't want to get away, she said, her voice trembling. I just want what's mine. Her footsteps began descending the stairs. Every instinct screamed to run. But I didn't. Because I was done running. She appeared at the bottom of the ramp, still in those hospital scrubs, her eyes wild but her hands empty. No knife this time. No mask of sanity left either. Just a trembling woman whose entire identity had cracked down the middle. Just once, Jennifer whispered, stepping closer. Let me hold her. Just once, Rachel. Please. I've dreamed about it every night. My throat closed. You come any closer and I'll scream. I'm not going to hurt you, she said, her voice shaking. I just want to feel her heartbeat. To know she's real. She was mine before she was yours. You know that. I took a step back, my spine pressing into a concrete pillar. She's not yours, I said. She never was. She never will be. Don't say that, she shouted suddenly, her voice echoing through the garage. You don't understand. You gave her to me. You called her spirit. You brought her into this world for me. You said I could become something beautiful, remember? You said I could transform. She was crying now, ugly, desperate sobs that sounded like a child's. And in that moment I saw her clearly, not as the monster I'd feared for months, but as that little girl from the faded photo. The one I'd once told she was special. Jennifer, I said softer now, you need help. You're sick. Please let me help you. Her eyes filled with something unreadable, hope, maybe, or madness. You can't help me, she whispered. You already did. A voice echoed from behind her. Jennifer Cole. Stop right there. Detective Martinez. Finally. Jennifer froze, shoulders heaving. Don't, she said without turning around. Please don't take this from me. Hands up. Martinez ordered, her gun drawn but her voice calm. It's over. No one has to get hurt. Jennifer looked at me again, tears running down her face. I just wanted a family, she said softly. Someone to love me back. Why can't I have that? My own tears blurred my vision. Because you can't take it from someone else. That's not love, Jennifer. That's desperation. I know, she whispered. I know. She didn't run. Didn't fight. When the other officers swarmed in, she just stood there, shaking, and let them cuff her wrists. As they led her past me, she looked up one last time. I'm sorry, she said. For all of it. I never meant to scare you. I just wanted to belong. I didn't answer. I couldn't. David reached me seconds later, breathless, Lily pressed against his chest. Are you okay? He kept asking, but I couldn't even speak. I just touched Lily's tiny hand to make sure she was real. Hours later, at the station, Detective Martinez sat across from me with the kind of tired compassion only cops who've seen too much can wear. She's going to be evaluated at a psychiatric facility, she said. Given what we've read in her journals, it's likely she'll be committed long-term. She needs treatment, not punishment. She needs to stay far away from my family, I said quietly. She will, Martinez promised. The restraining order will remain. And Rachel, this is over. You're safe now. I wanted to believe that, but the word safe had lost all meaning. As we left the station that night, the sun was sinking, orange lights slanting across the parking lot. David put an arm around me while I stared at Lily, asleep in her carrier. Was it really over? 3 months later, a letter arrived from the psychiatric hospital upstate. Jennifer's handwriting, neat, deliberate, lucid. She wrote about therapy, about realizing what she'd done, about finally understanding that I wasn't her salvation, that I'd just been kind once when she was a lonely child. She apologized, over and over, and ended the letter with a line that made me cry despite myself. I hope your daughter never knows a day of the loneliness I've felt. I hope she grows up surrounded by love. I folded the letter and locked it away. That night, after putting Lily to bed, I stood in her nursery, the baby monitor humming softly, and let myself breathe for the first time in months. The fear wasn't gone, not completely, but it had dulled around the edges, no longer sharp enough to cut me open. Jennifer was gone. The story was over. Or so I thought. 2 weeks after the letter, I found myself sitting alone in Lily's nursery during a rainstorm, the soft white noise of her sleep machine playing in the background. The lights were dim. The baby monitor glowed blue. I rocked gently in the chair by the window, holding her tiny foot in my hand like it was an anchor to reality. I wanted to believe it was over. That Jennifer was out of our lives for good. But trauma doesn't respect clean endings. I still checked the locks twice before bed. Still flinched when my phone buzzed unexpectedly. Still caught myself staring too long at unfamiliar faces in the grocery store. Healing isn't a straight line, it's a winding, foggy path where the threat always seems to lurk just a few steps behind, whether it's real or not. But then one bright autumn afternoon, something changed. David and I took Lily to the park, the same one Jennifer used to watch from. We packed a picnic blanket and a thermos of coffee, and we just tried to exist like normal people. Lily babbled in her stroller, enchanted by the crunch of leaves under her tiny shoes. David made goofy faces to make her laugh, and for the first time in a long while, I let myself laugh, too. Freely. We spread the blanket under a tree. I lay down with Lily on my chest, her heartbeat slow and steady. A gentle breeze played with her hair. I breathed in the scent of grass and milk and baby shampoo. That's when an older woman walked by. Gray hair. Friendly smile. "Beautiful baby," she said, her tone genuine. "Thank you," I replied. And this time, I meant it. I didn't flinch. I didn't freeze. I didn't run through 100 worst-case scenarios. I just smiled. After she walked on, David looked at me sideways. "You okay?" I nodded slowly. "Yeah. I think I really am." He leaned over and kissed my forehead. "You're the strongest person I know." "No," I said, brushing Lily's cheek. "She is. And it's true. Lily survived all of it. The obsession. The danger. The chaos. She slept through police interviews and hospital drills and late-night breakdowns. She grew through fear and love and stress and tears. She's my miracle. But I've learned something through all of this, something I wish I hadn't had to learn the hard way. Kindness is powerful, but it's not always safe. You can mean nothing by it, and still mean everything to someone else. And sometimes, people mistake kindness for connection. Sometimes, lonely hearts build entire worlds from a single warm word. And when that world collapses, it's not just sad, it's dangerous. I'll tell Lily someday. Not everything, not the darkest parts, but enough. Enough for her to understand the importance of boundaries. Of protecting her peace. Of trusting her gut. Of knowing that someone else's pain is not her responsibility to heal. She'll grow up loved. Safe. Whole. She'll know that she matters, not because someone said so once in a summer art class, but because she's seen it in every action, every hug, every night her father and I stayed up just to watch her breathe. As for Jennifer, I don't hate her. I wish I could. It would be easier. But hate requires more certainty than I have. What I feel is more complicated. Grief, maybe. Pity. Fear still, sometimes. But also, a strange, reluctant compassion. Because under all the madness, there was a child who just wanted to be loved. And I know what that feels like. But my daughter will never have to wonder. She'll never have to build castles out of crumbs. Because I'll be there, every day, every moment, reminding her who she is. Lillian Harper. Wanted. Cherished. Mine. And safe. Finally safe.